Okay.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
All right. We're going to call the meeting to order of the Community Development Authority on Thursday, July 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. I would ask Rachel to note roll call. I would ask Jean to lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The announcement is, I want to make sure everyone knows Jean. I think everyone here does, but this is Jean Manchesky. She has been on the committee now, but unable to attend in person till this meeting. So we're very happy to have her. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 12th.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any edits, corrections, or discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then abstention. Okay. Thank you. Motion or minutes are approved. We don't have any appearances. Excuse me. So we'll move to new business. And that's Baker Tilly. You want to come forward and sit at the table? If I have any more cold medicine, I'm going to fall asleep right here.
Good, thank you.
And if you would state your name and so we all know who you are.
Of course. Well, thanks for having me. I'm Justin Hoagland. I'm a principal at Baker Tilly, and I oversee the village-wide financial audit as well as the CDA. And so we did issue your 2024 financial statements back in early July. And so then after that, we always like to come give a brief kind of overview of the reports that we issued and kind of the financial highlights, and then see if you have any questions for me. So feel free to stop me at any time if you do have questions.
One thing I'll ask, you're a little hard to hear, so make love to your microphone.
Okay, sounds good. Can you hear me now? So first, just wanted to thank, Alex Carroll. The audit went really smooth as it does every year. You do really have a great team here. Especially this was a unique year, as we'll go through shortly with everything going on. And it sounds like it's going to be a unique year in 2025 too. So a lot of one-time kind of things happening, but again, it went really smooth. So kind of, I'm going to go through this 2-page document kind of up here on the screen. So starting with number 1, just kind of going over the reports that were issued. First, the financial statements themselves. So, the objective of the audit is to express an opinion on your financial statements. And so we do issue what's called an unmodified or a clean opinion on your financial statements. That's Roman numerals 1 through 3 of your financial statements. And so that's pretty much saying that your financial statements are, fairly presented and there's no material weaknesses or material misstatements in your financial statements. Next, as I was kind of hinting at, you will see in your financial statements that you do have a new entity that's shown. That's the Yahara River Housing LLC entity. And so I'm sure as many of you are aware, with the Section 18 disposition, your public housing portfolio moved or was sold from the public housing fund to the Yahara River Housing LLC fund. The goal of which was to hopefully kind of have a more stable revenue source going forward, as those properties now operate as, market rate rental properties. So you'll see that kind of in the back of the financials. The other document I wanted to go over is the reporting and insights from the 2024 audit, which you should all have a copy of. It looks like this. So this has a bunch of different information in it. It has, any recommendations that we saw as part of the audit, any internal control issues, any material entries. It has my information, contact information, if you ever need to get a hold of me. And then, one page that I always really like to highlight is on page 11. Looks like this. It's titled Board of Commissioner Resources. So there is a link at the top of that document that goes to a website of ours. That really we like to kind of have articles and stuff kind of talking about the trending kind of topics and any regulatory updates that are impacting the governmental industry. A lot of them relate to the municipalities we audit, right? The villages, cities, counties. But it certainly pertains to the CDA as well. And so really kind of the three big ones that we highlight on that page that we really see kind of impacting the industry. The first one is, funding, evaluation, and pursuit. Just obviously letting our clients know that there is money out there as far as state and federal grants. It's a little more murky now though, right? With the new administration, they're certainly hinting at a reduction in federal funding and whatnot in certain programs. So something just to be aware of, especially from a budgeting kind of aspect, how that could impact it. But again, it's not certainly clear at this point. Next is digital transformation. Making sure you're streamlining any inefficient processes using technology, AI, whatnot. I would say the village as a whole does a really good job of that already. You guys are, we have clients that are paperless or still have paper all over the place, right? You're very paperless here. You're always kind of in the forefront of some of those technological advances. So that's good to see. But again, always keeping that in your mind. And kind of with that, the third point is cybersecurity. There have been municipalities in Wisconsin that have had their data stolen, hacked, held for ransom. It's happened this year. It's happened the last couple of years, and it'll keep happening more and more. So making sure, you kind of have those controls in place to help prevent that as much as possible, insurance if you desire and stuff like that. One thing I always do note is Baker Tilly is a full kind of service firm. We have a whole consulting firm that works with municipalities. We have specialists in all these areas. If you ever want to talk to any of them free of charge, just let me know and I can certainly connect you with anyone in those realms. So that's the reporting and insights document. One thing the last thing I guess on that I always like to mention is we do issue a material weakness over financial reporting. And that's just because we prepare your financial statements. Right. And we do that for 95% of our clients. It's only the really big cities, the really big counties that kind of prepare their own financial statements. So I don't be, scared of that or like, what is this? That again, 95% of our clients have this point because we prepare their financials. So kind of then moving on to the fun financial stuff. This number 2 here is, again, a super high level balance sheet, kind of comparing 2024 to 2023. I'd say the couple things to kind of note here is your assets did go up a decent amount from last year. A big driver is you had a big net income during the year. And a big driver of that is you did receive it was like $462,000 donation from the village, which went to the redevelopment fund. Redevelopment fund gave it to Yahara River Housing to then purchase the public housing fund. So again, that's a big reason for that increase, as well as just Jefferson Square having a net income as well for its normal operations during the year. The only other kind of big change here is your non-current liabilities also did go up. It looks like about 180,000 here. That all relates to those buy-in deposits for Jefferson Square. Again, as far as a net, you had more coming in than went out as far as those non-refund or those refundable portions of those buy-in deposits. So that's the driver of those non-current liabilities going up. Looking at the next page at the top, again, this is just a super high level income statement comparing 2024 to 2023. You'll see overall revenues and expenses were very comparable to last year. the one line item, kind of at the bottom of the revenues there, that other non-operating revenue, you'll see it went up a lot compared to 2023. Again, that relates to mostly that $462,000 donation from the village that's hitting this line item. So overall, you had a net income or this change in net position of 529,000 during 2024. Again, if you factored out that $462,000 donation, you'd be pretty much right at the same net income that you had in 2023.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, that was the next thing.
Is the 462, was that a loan or a gift? I thought it was a loan. Donation, okay. I like that.
I like it too, otherwise we'd be restating this. So. Any other questions? That's really the high level things I wanted to go through.
So everything is kind of meshed together in here, right? I mean, you've not separated out Jefferson Square from.
In the back schedules, we do have back schedules that breaks out, Jefferson Square, Yahara River, housing, all of them, but they get rolled up into the front schedules, and then that's how they're shown in the village-wide financials as well. So we do show the detail, it's just in the back schedules.
Question, Sheila, you're good? Jean? We get spreadsheets and numbers and we all go quiet. Except Carol. Carol, do you have any comments you want to add? No, we just count on Carol for our spreadsheet.
Yeah, well, if you're here for the village board meeting, and I don't know if it's a week or so, I'll have graphs too. So
when the auditors come in and say everything went well, why would I have anything to add?
you can disagree, I guess. Yeah.
No.
I will just add that working with the auditors this year was really good. A lot of back and forth because of the uniqueness with the Section 18 disposition and some of that, and figuring out where some of this sits. So just appreciate the open lines of communication. And that was good.
Thank you. Oh, yep.
One question, what's under general expense? What does that cover?
I don't know if Alex or Carol would be able to know the detail of it. I don't have the file up.
Anything that's not admin, utilities, ordinary maintenance, or depreciation.
That's a good.
Good. Good.
I could have figured that out. I mean, the difference is only 15,000. I'm just asking what it.
So every month we review our financial statements, and you all see them across Fund 940, 920, 910, and Jefferson Square. These are just, I don't know, bulk lumps of those various categories. So I don't know what went into those, but we could certainly probably pare it out and bring it back for you.
You knew. That's not a big deal.
Sure.
Carol.
Later in the day, when we start looking at the actual financial statements for May, you'll see that your P&L is actually broken out into those categories. So it comes down to like taxes, insurance, compensated absences, workers' compensation, miscellaneous. So it's actually called general expenses on the statement. So you'll be able to see that.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? If not, when we pass an audit, we go,
Yeah, good.
so thank you.
No one ever likes to see me. I don't know.
It isn't that we don't want to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, we'll move on then. You're welcome to stay, but you're also, I understand, probably wanting to go home. I see. All right. Item 7.2, discussion and possible action authorizing the executive director to execute a development and loan agreement with J&M Davis Holdings LLC.
Yeah, so we reviewed this at the June, I believe the last two meetings, the May and the June meeting. This is for the application for the business that's going to be a tenant in the same building that Sizzling Hut and Hairtopia are in. We did have the loan review committee do their review. We actually sat down, Tom Spitz, who's one of our partners at Wings Financial, and I sat down with the prospective business owner to kind of work through a pro forma and go over some of the different agreements and documents that we'd want for a security standpoint. In your packets was a development and loan agreement, a personal guarantee. Those are two things that we had in the first instance that we had our first applicant for the revolving loan. What's new in this case is the third item, which is a collateral assignment of fixtures and lease agreement. And that's a document that required the property owner to sign off on as well. And what that is it's extra because we were a little on the fence in terms of the financials when our review committee went through its review process. It was an extra security for us in the event that there is an active default or failure to make payment, or if the business eventually does go under. And effectively, that means typically when let's just use the example, let's say they are unsuccessful and they terminate their tenancy there. Typically, they would have to relinquish the fixtures. Those would become part of the property. In this case, and then the lease obviously terminates and the property owner can release to whomever he or she feels they want to release to. In this case, we're asking the property owner to waive the rights to the fixtures that were used, that this loan fund was used to pay for. So we would actually, as CDA, would hold those fixtures as security in the event of default against whatever's remaining on the loan. And then we would also have the lease assigned to us. So we would sort of be in the driver's seat of that space, so to speak, and would have an additional, opportunity to release that space. So that was kind of working with our legal team as what we thought might give us a little bit of extra teeth. The terms of the loan itself are highlighted on the screen here. And now I feel like I have old eyes because I can barely see it. It is a $50,000 loan, which is the max. If you recall, the applicant did request more than the max. In performing the financial review, we did determine that the applicant would still, with a $50,000 loan, there still have the financial means to complete the project in full. And then there would be a $5,000 grant component as well. This would be at 7% interest. You can see the payments of $449 a month, 5-year term. At the end of that 5-year term, the remaining balance would be due. One of the other points to note here is that a certificate of occupancy will be required to be obtained by December 31st. I'm going to bring up the development agreement itself so I can point out a few other things here. The other thing to note is that we would require construction to start by, I think it was August 31st. Yeah, August 31st. I have no doubt that they will be doing that. I think they'll be starting fairly quickly. Cost of the improvements has to have a guaranteed investment of at least 75,000. That number is just to ensure that we are keeping with our program guidelines. We require 30% owner equity into the project. At that 75,000 with our $50,000 loan, that would be the case. Obviously, they have an estimate of approximately 250,000. We have to have a full, detailed set of estimates within 30 days of executing this agreement. That will obviously help us determine eligible costs, but also just make sure that we understand the full scope of the project. This one here, a funding contingency, they have to demonstrate that they have funds to complete the project. Again, I kind of mentioned we've already verified that that is the case. Ability to pay, that's looking through a pro forma. Again, we've already kind of gone through that, and I feel confident that comfortable with where that pro forma is. Obviously, anything can happen, but I feel both myself and Tom Spitz at Wings felt comfortable with where that was. Personal guarantee, this is the promise to pay. And then, yeah, sorry, this is the personal guarantee. And I believe that just about covers it. So I guess I'll pause there and ask if there's any questions.
Questions? Questions I have was Jennifer Wellhouse comfortable with her participation?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So I actually have signed copies of all these agreements from both the applicant and the property owner, as well house, on the collateral assignment. So assuming we have vote to approve these, I'll just bring up the collateral assignment as well so you can look at that. Those would effectively be executed upon our signature.
Other questions? Yes, Jean.
Can you just go back over the topic of the lease and if we were to get that back, how would that happen? I mean, would it be that this individual wouldn't satisfy the term of the lease and then we would take it back?
Yeah, so that's the document that's up here on screen. I'm gonna zoom in. Yeah, I don't know how to go sideways here, but we'll figure that out. So this assignment does two things. It's an assignment of the lease. It's also an assignment of the fixtures. So if they default, say they don't make payments, we effectively take over their lease. That's one of our pieces of security. And then we also have the right to take over the fixtures. So if we wanted to, I'm not saying we would do this, but we could go in there, yank them out and sell them. I don't know. I don't want to, that's not a good use of our time, I think. But it's just an extra piece because one of the concerns that comes up is, well, this isn't the property owner. So how do you have, you can't use the property as security. So this is just an extra item for us to look at. Does that kind of make sense? Does that answer your question or not?
So,
I was just gonna say that you could get get money for the fixtures though. You'd list it on Wisconsin's online surplus auction.
Sure.
As part of the deal, the purchase price, it would be required that, you know, the removal was done by a contractor. So
But-
there is an avenue to get your money back.
or someone else might be interested in running a restaurant there.
Sure.
So, and the 250,000, you feel he has figured out the funding for that and Tom was comfortable?
Yep. We saw that the funds were there.
Okay.
I will say also, with us being basically a party to this lease in a certain way, this is point number 3 on the screen there, any changes, any adjustments, alterations, termination of the lease, we have to basically sign off on as well. So changes in terms, those types of things.
Okay. I don't know if I heard this or I read this, so bear with me, but I understand they're talking about having some outdoor seating or space developed. Is that part of this or?
I think that's part of a, with this business, but also the property owner as a whole in terms of how she wants to deal with the multiple tenants in her space.
I was just trying to think, where would you put outdoor seating there?
Yeah, there's not much space.
I mean, the back is almost no space.
The way that I understood it, if it were to happen, it would be very limited and under the overhang that's there,
Okay, so
sort of
in
on the
Sort of like
south side of that.
Al Allegra has done.
Yeah, similar.
Okay,
Although probably even more limited than that. So it probably won't happen
okay.
unless they reclaim parking spaces. Yes, pizza and Italian restaurant.
Well, if there are any more questions? Looks like he's satisfied many of the conditions that we were concerned about.
Mhm.
They have to be in by December 31 occupancy. So that means they gotta get their fire inspection, their inspection by the building inspector, all of it up in hand.
Yeah, they basically have to be able to operate the business as we anticipate it by that time,
Okay.
which I'm sure they'll be doing far sooner than that.
And is this consistent from your perspective on of the conditions that the Public Safety Committee put on their liquor license?
I don't, to my understanding, I don't think it is. I think they're under a tighter time frame. So just to give a little bit more context, they also did apply for a liquor license for the facility to operate the establishment too. And I think the conditions of that are tighter than the timeline that we're giving here. I believe it's 60 days. That's all right, 60 days.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Colleen chairs that committee. That's why I felt comfortable asking a question.
Mhm.
Thanks. All right. Well, if, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the loan plus the $5,000 grant. Is that what we need?
Yeah, so I think we did this as just a motion. Just to reiterate, there's, it's a loan, so there's always going to be risk in here. And I think we've discussed at the past couple meetings, the appetite for that risk and deciding to invest in the properties. And so, we did our best, myself and our legal team, to give us the additional security to help us feel a little bit more comfortable with that. But there's always a risk.
And he did meet with Tom Spitz, right?
Yep.
So, okay,
So yeah, we'd just be looking for a motion to authorize me to execute the development and loan agreement.
okay. So I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. That was a lot of work, Alex, so good work. All right, we will move on to the next item then, 7.3. Discussion and potential action authorizing executive director to execute a development and loan agreement with Asian Hut LLC.
So kind of combine two steps in one here. We have not seen the application before today, but we did get an application, and because there was ample amount of time in between the last meeting and this one to have the loan review committee do an analysis of this, I had them do it in advance of this meeting. So you're getting all the information at one time. So this is the applicant is proposing a business in the same building as the one that we just approved. This would be, and my understanding is they also have a lease executed. They're taking over the space that is currently Sizzling Hut, and they would be doing a Thai fusion bubble tea type of deal there. The application was in your packets. They also requested $50,000. I will say that having just approved that previous loan, the way that our program is written, the max amount of loan funds that we can give at any time is 50% of the available funds. So before that last loan, we had $100,000 to loan out. Now we have $50,000 to loan out. Half of that is $25,000. The request here was $50,000. Our max would be a $25,000 loan. I did confirm with the applicant that that would be sufficient for them to still undertake the project, and they said they would. Let's see. They do have some experience in a partnership with another business, a similar type of restaurant establishment. The loan review committee, I'm gonna struggle with that. Had some concerns. So the way that we do those, the underwriting for these, one of our financial partners will do one analysis, and then the next application that comes in, the other financial partner will do the other one. So in this case, Heartland Credit Union performed the analysis, and what they turned up, which is in the memo here, was a concern about a Chapter 7 bankruptcy that was filed in 2018 and then subsequently discharged in 2019. And the comment that they had with that was that we really don't have obviously this is a fledgling program. We haven't come across this before, but we also don't have a policy in place for how we're going to look at a bankruptcy in somebody's financial analysis. So that's one thing that I'll point out. Outside of that, the other comment from underwriting was just the lack of, well, at the time that they did the underwriting, we didn't have a personal financial statement we've got that now. That looks fine. But their comment was the lack of security given, again, as the last case was, they're not the property owner. So what would our recourse be if anything happened? So the structure, what's in your packet, it's almost identical to what we just approved. It's a personal guarantee. Terms are fairly similar, just $25,000 instead of $50,000. And then the fixtures, assignment of fixtures and the lease assignment as well. I guess I'll open it up for discussion, particularly as it relates to the bankruptcy filing and how we might view that.
Any comments or questions? And one of the things I noted to you when you raised it with me was this was a 2018, which is 7 years ago. You know, most people just don't look at a bankruptcy that's 7 years old. I mean, you get a point where it's sort of wiped out. Now, this was a complete dissolution of debt, which may put him in better position to meet this debt, if in fact he's kept a good financial record going since then.
Sure.
But I ask for other opinions, questions.
Is there an interest rate here?
So this would be the same terms,
Same thing?
7%. Sheila, I thought I saw your hand up for a second.
I did, but I was gonna say the same thing that Jane was saying. As I was reading their application, I was expecting it because I hadn't held in my head the date of the bankruptcy and I was expecting it to be during COVID and it was not. But it sounds like what they were doing survived through COVID, which I found impressive because lots of places really struggled during that time. So part of me was wondering if that doesn't that's a more recent thing than the bankruptcy. So that's what I was thinking.
Sure.
Good point, Sheila. Thank you. Other comments?
I just have one question.
Yes.
So can you, I'm not familiar with this. What would the meaning of discharged be? Is that just then like totally forgiven or does discharged mean something different?
No, that means it was forgiven unless you have a different understanding, but essentially they filed in 2018 and then it was completed in 2019.
When you file for bankruptcy, they give you a list of things you have to do. They work out a budget for you. They work out conditions of your bankruptcy. And in order to have it discharged, you have to have met all of those conditions. Frankly, surprised me that it happened already in 2019. That's quick. So somehow they got an infusion of money from somewhere.
Great, thank you for clarifying that for me.
Carol, was that accurate?
You're the financial whiz. No bankruptcy. Yeah. I just, for both of these loans, I'll say neither one of these are, both of these applicants, I think, would have a challenging time securing traditional financing through a financial institution. So I think same as what we've heard the last two meetings about the previous loan, it kind of just comes down to, the comfort level with a potential default and then what our priorities are in terms of investing these funds, quote unquote, investing these funds into redevelopment activities.
I do appreciate the fact that one of the things we're trying to do is to help people who can't necessarily get through traditional financing, start a business. I'm also I don't know if happy is the word, but I find it a good thing that one of the buildings that sits in our redevelopment plan as a real problem child is being addressed. And we'll have 2 active businesses in there, plus the hair salon still there. So, And then did you tell me that the owner is going to upgrade the building itself?
Yeah, she does have plans to do some facade improvements on the exterior. Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is in one of our, if not the priority area, it's one of them for sure.
Okay, more questions, considerations?
I would just say that, I know there's always risk involved in programs like this, but it seems like due diligence was done, and I think that we should approve it.
I will say too, thank you, that for this one, I haven't gone through the exercise of looking at a pro forma with the applicant or doing some of the other things that we have with the previous. So those things, that's still something that will have to be done in order for funding to be dispersed as well. So there's a little bit of extra checkpoints for this one as well.
So this is taking it to the next step, then.
Yeah, yep. So this would be, if we approve, you approve the authorization to execute this, then we would, it wouldn't come back here. We would effectively be doing this, but in order for them to receive funding and to be in compliance with the agreement, they would still have to go through some of these exercises that I've already done with the other applicant.
Okay. And was I reading correctly? They're residents of DeForest?
I think they're actually Windsor residents, but we'll hold that against.
I thought the thing on it said some prairie. Didn't it? When their names doesn't say some prairie?
Oh, maybe. I think, I don't know. You said it.
Well, when it was up there
Sure, you could be right.
names,
Yep.
I thought it said they were from some prairie.
There was a bio thing of her
Okay.
that talked about something, but
You could be right. I'll kick over there in a second, but one thing that I just do want to point out here is, so while the loan is 25,000, which is our max, the grant is 5,000, which typically it doesn't, these typically match, but since their request was a $5,000, or excuse me, a $50,000 loan request, our program stipulates a 10% grant, which in this case would be 2,500 would be 10% of what we're actually loaning. It wasn't necessarily their fault that we didn't have the available amount to lend. So I guess that's a question for you all. Would you want to stick with the $5,000 grant or reduce that to 2,500 to match what we're actually lending? Does that make sense?
I would be comfortable with the 5,000.
Yeah, I am.
I would as well.
Same.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I just have one comment. So that area of the village has always, in my opinion, been considered a gateway into the village. So that's a positive thing that two new businesses are going to go into that building. And so that's a very favorable thing.
I agree.
Okay.
Good. All right. Well, if there's no other comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to authorize the executive director to execute a development and loan agreement with Asian Hut LLC.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I just noticed you got a Bucky's cup. Wow. Good job. All right. 7.4, update and discussion on the Yahara Crossing Development Project, also known as Headwaters.
Oh, thank you. Now you're getting brownie points.
I was gonna raise that during the audit and then I went, yeah.
All right, I got excited for a second. So just want to go over a few things and then we'll look at an updated design here. Yep, that's it. So we did have a phase 1 environmental study authorized and they were on site with Jay at the 3 properties this morning, doing their preliminary review. We'll probably get the results of that, I would say, in 2 weeks or so. We also had folks on site at the last week of June, I believe, to do soil borings and excavation for some test pits. I'm not sure when we'll get the the lab results of that, but hopefully that'll be this month yet as well. One other thing that we've been kind of working through, which has been interesting, on the north side of the property, I think we've talked about this in the past. There's the power line, American Transmission, the ATC power line that's there. We've been exploring options to relocate that and have reached out to ATC. They are going to require a study be performed, so they're going to have to do a study to analyze what our options are. That is a $10,000 study, and it can take up to 4 months for that to get done. So we're working through that. The point person for that is out of office until I think Monday, the 14th. So once they get back, we'll see how collaborative that effort is, or whether or not it's just them in a back room somewhere thinking of options. We did of relocation options. We did have our team from McGann and then Veerbecker and Kaler Slater all put together a couple different options to them on what we thought might be good relocation options. But what degree of, credence they give those, I'm not 100% sure. So we'll know more next week. Yeah.
Who pays that $10,000?
That's that's our cost to bear. It would get credited against a potential relocation if and when that happens. Okay. So that's been a thorn in our side. I guess I'll bring up the fun stuff. Well, I'll pause there for any other questions on that. We can look at the design. This one. So this is the schematic design set. And this was one of the deliverables in our contract with Kaler Slater. We've had input in this. Kaler Slater obviously has done the bulk of the work from the design standpoint. McGann has had input, and then Veerbecker has had input as well, and you all have had input. So this should look fairly similar to the last iteration with some slight changes. I will say, before we get too deep into the weeds here, that we did have a meeting with McGann and Kaler Slater this afternoon, just to talk about some of the material choices that are in here and some of the constructability, particularly of a retaining wall on the Main Street side, and how that's going to impact our budget. McGann, obviously, they've done a lot of tax credit development projects before, so there were some things that they just wanted to better understand from a material standpoint, and get on the same page. So there may be some changes to how this is designed, but I think we ended that conversation in a good place. So I say that to say it's going to look fairly similar to this, but there may still be some changes based on cost
And
projections.
Retaining wall you're talking about, is that gradual?
Yeah, I'll show you which one it is here, and then we could back off and go to the kind of do the whole shebang renderings, technical term. So the retaining wall is that I'm talking about is this wall here. So obviously you can see that's like a 10 to 12 foot wall. It gets bumped out from the parking garage. It's a lot of additional cost. It's in this design, it's wrapped in stone. So that was kind of one that caught McGann's eye, I guess. We can start with the renderings, because that's the fun stuff. So this would be looking at the corner of the building from the intersection of V and Main Street. This is the main entry to the residential part of the facility, and a plaza, outdoor plaza that's here. The commercial space is all along Highway V here, and those have segmented entrances from the building, so anybody in the commercial space will not have access to the rest of the building. The tower, I think based on some of the feedback from the last time we talked about it, they made some adjustments there, brought some more wood into that. I mean, it's a beautiful, I mean, you talk about gateway, Gene, I mean, that's an anchor right there.
This is so much better. They really did a good job with our feedback.
Great. I will definitely share that. They'll be happy to hear that. It probably not coming through, at least here, I'm not seeing it particularly well. It looks really dark, but I'll send, actually, was this in your, no, it wasn't in your packets. I'll send this out to you also, you can see it in better color here, but this is that same angle in the evening, so you can see sort of the lighting scheme, I guess. Again, a different angle of that corner showing more of the commercial side of things. The wood tones kind of getting brought through in here. How do I zoom in here? This guy. Okay. So this is the view from Main Street. So it, again, based on the conversation this afternoon, it's likely that this will change. I imagine the facade of the upper part of the building will stay fairly similar to this. There may be some slight adjustments. We talked about some of the balconies, things like that. But generally it'll be consistent with what's shown here. Looking from, if you were looking, let's say like DeForest Collision, that area there. So this is the south side of the building. To access the underground parking is through this side here. The grades of this site are a little bit challenging. The northwest corner is significantly higher than the southeast corner. So there'll be some steeper grades on the west side of the building, tapering out to meet Main Street. And again, that wall will change slightly as well, but it will be a big wall looking from DeForest Collision. And then the rear of the building, obviously more of our decorative materials, the brick, the stone, some of the masonry will be focused more on the front. This will still be, we kind of went back and forth on what the siding, the white siding will be, but the lower portion may be wood look steel or aluminum.
Probably not Italian marble.
Not Italian marble. We also discussed the sort of these planters here and potential other options. It looks really nice, but if it comes down to cost, there may be another approach that's a little more cost effective.
I do like these though.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's very nice. Yep. And that's it on the renderings. I can go to the floor plan if you'd like and just show you some of the different units, but I pause for any feedback or questions there. Or Jay, if you have any input to add based on some of the conversations we've had.
Comments, questions?
Hitting the mark with everything, any,
Does all the upkeep, scrubs in that.
that guy?
Okay.
No. Similar to our other facilities, contracted.
Give me
contracted services.
days, all that stuff.
I agree with Sheila though. I think they took our feedback and came back with good options.
Mhm.
So costs may drive us to do some differing, but I do like what we see here.
Sure. Yeah, I will say, Keith, not to totally sidestep your comment there, but we are trying to think about this with maintenance, long-term maintenance involved as well. And we already made some adjustments just in terms of more of this like structural, like you're gonna have water damage here or there, those types of changes. But we've been thinking of that through this.
Sheila?
Yeah, my question is about the balconies in the back. First of all, is it just that some units have balconies and others don't? And then the second question I have is, and I get it that this is the back and you have to worry about the facade way less in the back. But one of my favorite things out the front is that you don't have these kind of a little bit unsightly balconies sticking out. I love the way they're set back. So I don't know if that's just not possible or if that's cost prohibitive or what. I just like the front so much better than the way they're sticking out in the back.
Sure. Yep, that makes sense. So to answer your first question, not every unit will have a balcony. What is hard to see here is that a lot of those first floor units will have a little outdoor space. if not all of them on the backside. Probably not all of them actually, but many of them will. So not everything will have that. Same on the front facades. And then in terms of recessing those, that's essentially just a cost consideration there too.
That makes
But I
sense.
agree. I like the look, Sheila, of the recessed ones in the front of the
Yep.
building.
It's cost, and then it's also, you know, carving out space from those units as well. So we'll do a quick overview of the floor plan just to see what would be a good example here. Guess we can go off of these. If I could zoom in.
I know it.
Yeah, and if it's just not practical to do this on a screen, I can send it out, and if there's questions, that'd be fine.
Okay.
This is a one bedroom, one of the layouts of a one bedroom. So the entrance, oh, I gotta orient myself. The entrance is here from the hallway. You have in-unit laundry facilities in every unit, which will be nice. Our residents currently at 509 have expressed a desire for that. In all of these, having prioritizing accessibility and sort of a flow through the space and not inhibiting that flow was kept at the front of mind here. So it is a galley kitchen, open to dining, a living room, bedroom, and then again, sort of this dual access. So not really a walk-in closet, but kind of a walk-in closet leading to the bathroom, and then having some access to the bathroom from the common area, I guess, as well.
So for anyone to use the bathroom, they have to go through your closet?
No, so if you're accessing the bathroom from your bedroom, you go through the closet. There's also access here this is the hallway. If you walk in through the laundry room, you have access to it here. So there's two doorways to the bathroom.
Oh, and you can close the laundry and the closet doors,
Correct.
so it becomes essentially a hallway.
Mhm.
And what would be the square footage on this?
I don't know for certain. If I had to guess, this is probably a 700 to a 750, something like that. Another layout here. This is a one bedroom street side. So I guess this is Main Street entrance on the west end here, or on the left side of the sheet. Again, a similar concept. The bathroom is accessible both from, you know, through the kitchen through this way, through the laundry, or through the bedroom and that closet, and then free flow in the rest of the space to a balcony.
What about TV? Will it be cable? Or what?
We'll have cable hookups, and then that will be a tenant cost. So they'll have the option to get cable if they want it. This is on the backside, so the courtyard, one bedroom courtyard, very similar. Kind of get a sense of that there. Another one bedroom. I don't know where those are. And then the two bedroom units. So you enter through here, you've got a closet, mechanical room, bathroom, bedroom number one, or excuse me, bedroom number two, it's labeled here. Laundry, and then sort of the primary bedroom with a walk-in closet and a bathroom, living room and a balcony. So this must be a corner unit. And then the kitchen. Another two bedroom entering through here. A lot of closet space, mechanical space. Bedroom number two, balcony with a common area, the common bathroom, kitchen and living room, primary bedroom, walk-in closet, and another private bathroom. So all of these are kind of variations. This one has more of a central corridor as the common area. So the kitchen, living room, dining, balcony, master bedroom on the side. And those are kind of the layouts. There is a broader floor plan if you want to see where these units are within the building. I'd be happy to show you that, or if you prefer to just leave it there, that's fine as well.
But yeah, I'd like to see it.
Okay. So this may require some creative scrolling. This is first floor. Again, Highway V is up on the page. So the parking lot, these are the commercial spaces through here. Fitness area for residents. And then the units themselves on the courtyard side, so the south side, these are primarily 1 bedrooms. There is communal space. So if you're entering from, this is the outdoor, a little fire pit, a grill area, a common area for outdoor tables, those types of things. You're coming through here, this is the communal space. So right now it's configured as, and this may shapeshift. Right now it's configured with a community dining area with a fireplace. Looks like a 2-sided fireplace. I may just go visit here more often. A arts and crafts room, just a general common area here, janitorial, a public bathroom, and then sort of a galley kitchen / common pantry and a coffee station.
Will all the mailboxes be on the first floor?
Yes. Yep, all the mailboxes will be on the first floor. The elevators are here. So it will be an elevator building. And right now we've got it configured to have 2 elevators. And the keyed mailboxes will be here with a parcel room right off of that main vestibule, the main entry up here for if there's like a midnight Amazon delivery or something like that, they don't need to access the rest of the building, they can drop that there, or don't need to ring up to somebody. This will all be secured. Our leasing office, J space, will be right here in the corner. And then I guess some computer stations. They have it labeled as phone booths, but this will likely be some sort of workstation. And then the units continue going south on the building in that southern wing. And that's the first floor. Again, the commercial space, we didn't really look at that, but if you're interested, right now they're showing it as 3 distinct units. It could be subdivided. It could be 1, it could be 6. It just depends on what potential tenants we get in there.
Is there any thoughts or interest yet?
I've had conversations here and there. It's just it's a little early, I would say. Second floor and third floor, I believe are essentially identical. So we'll just look at the second floor. Yes.
Matt, how many windows are in the 1 bedroom? So I'm trying to count, but we were kind of scanning too fast.
Sorry.
So
That was a point of conversation this afternoon, is that there are a lot of windows in this building, which is a good thing. It looks like there is a window on the west side of the corner and then one here. So probably each of these on the courtyard just has, looks like just 1, maybe 2 actually.
I was just interested in the
2 units.
interior, because I know on the corner, you're gonna have more windows, but
Yep, it looks like there's a patio and then a window. So there should be a decent amount of light coming through on those.
thank you.
I just want to see if that's the case on the other side too. I'm sure it is. Yeah. So second and third floors, no commercial space, obviously. You can see the corner units and then fairly consistent. Couple of the balcony units here. These interior ones would not have balconies. The second and third floor do not have balconies on Highway V, I believe. Elevators, again, sort of centralized. The tower units, I'm gonna say, these corner units. and then moving south to another big corner unit. And then, so the elevators are centralized, but each wing will have its own stairwell for additional access and egress. And both of those floors are identical. Any questions, suggestions, comments, feedback I can pass along to the design team?
Has this concept plan been shared with the fire department as far as access in and out?
Yeah, so they had a review, not of this level of detail, but the preliminary development plan that went before P and Z had a fairly similar site plan with that access moving around the southwest side, and that was reviewed by fire.
Yep.
But you know, they'll have to obviously sign off on this as well.
And the corner units will be priced higher or?
Well, that is the tricky piece of all this, because it is a tax credit project and there aren't any market rate units in here. All of these units have a rent cap. So we can't really extract any additional value for, you know, the units that might have what would be considered more amenities.
Okay, questions? Comments?
The only other thing I'll point out too is initially we had configured this as a 60 unit building, just in the spreadsheet. They were able to get an extra 2 apartment units in here too, so that was a benefit.
And not trying to reduce the size of anything, but is that, or increase them, is that too small? Are any of these too small? I mean, are these big enough that people will be comfortable and able to live?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They're they're larger than the ones that we have now. I think the current ones at 509 are 550 square feet, 549. If you go into downtown Madison right now, I think there was a building that had like micro units that were 350 square feet. So I think these are marketable. Okay. Well, I will send this out to you all, and if you have any comments after you have a chance to look at it, feel free to let me know.
No, I think this has been good progress. I'm pleased with what we see. So we lost. I lost my, oh, there it is. Screen's back. All right. Anything else you would like from us on that, other than I think everyone is fairly comfortable with where we've gotten so far. So thank you. That's a lot of work. I know it. I've been through this, so good work. All right, then we'll move on to reports. And we'll start with the housing division. Jefferson Square financial update.
Yeah, so if you look at the results at the end of May, you'll see that things are moving along nicely. Revenues are a little under what we had budgeted at this point in the year, but not enough to be concerning. But you'll notice that the expenses are also under where we were budgeted. So as a whole, our income is actually positive at this point, and we had budgeted for a loss of about 45,000 at this point in the year. So the fact that we are coming in positive is actually a good thing. But as you know, with Jefferson Square, one of the things you always have to go back and look at is your refurbishment expenses, which at this point in the year, we expected to have about 73,000 in expenses, and we're showing nothing yet this year. So it's the timing of when the units turn over and when they have to put money into those units that really makes such a difference. So by the end of the year, I can't say we'll still be in such a positive place, but at least for now, at this point in the year, we're doing very well.
That's good. Questions? Good. Well, let's rolling through this.
The Harry River Housing is, I mean, we are doing the status quo over there. Not a lot of extra expenses going on. See the checking accounts 42,000 now and as of May, so that's a lot higher than it's ever been as far as public housing was concerned. The biggest hit again for this statement was unit turns. That was mostly when the Meadow Lane unit became available. Took a significant amount of effort put into that. Other than that, we haven't really had much for expenses. I've been really trying to keep costs down over there, so it's going good.
And Meadow Lane is all rented. All these.
Correct.
All right, questions on that?
Jane? I was just gonna add, on top of the fact that the checking account has $42,000 in it, we have also, now that we have revenue in this area, we've been, kind of leaving out the idea of a repair and replacement reserve because we just didn't have the money to even put into a repair and replacement reserve, which we have now kind of designated that here on your balance sheet and started to move, not really move the money, but at least separate it on your report so that you can see an amount that we're kind of holding in reserve for repairs and replacement, which, like I said, you haven't seen that before because we haven't really had the money to be able to do that. So now we're going to start putting a designated amount into that account, into that reserve every month.
Right.
So not only do we have the 42,000 in checking, we also have 33,000 sitting there in that reserve that we didn't have before.
It's wonderful.
Which is great if we continue to own the building.
Yeah.
However, on that note, it does seem likely that that property will be purchased. I think we're working towards a closing date of next week. I don't know the exact date just yet, but that will obviously eliminate the need for a replacement reserve.
Yes and no.
Yeah,
We still have Meadow Lane.
yeah, that's true. Good point.
And that's on the market now too.
Yep.
Not that much interest.
Sure. No interest.
Questions? If not, we will move on to update on the housing units.
And I'll just say too, for Gene's benefit, if there's stuff, we're kind of flying fast and there's not, I'm sure you don't have the historical, so please ask questions. Okay.
So Demery gave me an update. All the units that are available at Jefferson Square are spoken for, which is pretty unbelievable. The two that became available most recently have both been spoken for. One with a 815 move-in, and they're starting a renovation on the 705 Jefferson Court with a tentative 9/1 move-in date. 720 to Forest Street will be moving in, I think it's next Tuesday, the 15th. So yeah, that's a pretty big, you know, I think I mentioned it last meeting. Any questions about the need or the want for spaces at Jefferson Square has been answered already. So I heard rumors of potential people also moving out. I'm not gonna spread rumors, but so expect that there might be changes yet this year. But by all accounts, you know, Attic Angel is going to take on more of a direct approach than we did with their last one. Last one, they kind of just did what we did to, you know, because they hadn't been through the process. They're going to start exercising their contractors and their resources to do the turns that they got going on now, and feel like it will be more, they'll be able to save a little bit more money for us to do that, for them too, I guess. So
Are you aware that Attic Angels is now managing Jefferson Square?
and then she just mentioned that the landscaping is the biggest thorn in their side, and it's always been, it's gonna continue to be. It's the same at all their properties. She's gonna be putting out a survey this week, I guess. It might already be out, to understand a little bit more of how each resident feels about the contractor, trying to gauge the receptiveness of individuals, whether they would want to break that contract if it meant an increase of monthly service fees, which would be absolutely necessary if that was to happen, and kind of get just a better understanding of if it's a few people having this, because the only real feedback is when everyone's in a group and you're hearing strong individuals, and if everyone under a survey situation would feel a little bit differently than it's been expressed, so. But for ours, the 509 building, still 2 units available. It's been a challenge to even get people applying over there. The have dropped the price down to 925, and I've shown a couple times. Thought I had one rented, and crickets. I don't know if it, not even reply. So working through that still. But
No one on the waiting list anymore?
yeah, there's no more waiting list there. So it's
Lowered again or not?
yeah, I've honestly been struggling with that a little bit because of the situation that we're in with the potential sale, and it's been imminent for a while now, right? Just knowing how much we, for me to make those decisions on behalf of somebody potentially that's not gonna agree with that direction. I've been a little bit hesitant to go too far down. I did rent one at that price, so I think that it's doable. It's just more, just like any other thing, you got to find the right individuals. So
Okay, questions? Okay, thank you. All right. Redevelopment Division financial update.
That's 9, 10. So,
Wait.
just a couple things to note on this one. You'll see new things in here now. So you'll see buildings under capital assets. That's because 910 now has purchased some buildings. So that's showing up there. You'll also see tenant revenue and operating expenses, because one of those buildings that we purchased has tenants in it. So 109 West North, they are paying rent to us. And there's been some utility expenses, I believe, associated with those two. So those are new. Outside of that, it's been continued activity with our redevelopment project.
Questions on that? It was being discussed at the beauty shop the other day.
Oh,
Someone asked me if we were throwing everyone out, and I've assured them we're not throwing everyone out.
sure.
They have some lead time, so.
Yes.
All right, well, if there's no more on that, I would ask if there's any other business to lawfully come before this authority.
So I've got an item on there to look at our August meeting. I will be out west on that date. Certainly y'all could have it without me if you want. Or we could look at another date, or potentially just move right to September. I don't think I'll need anything or have anything that requires action at that meeting. So if the preference is to push to September, I'm fine doing that. Otherwise, I can have Rachel coordinate another meeting in August.
What is the pleasure of the group? I'm fine with September.
September's fine.
If there's an emergency, we
Yeah.
can
Sure.
call a Zoom.
Okay. That'll work.
So
September 11th.
I feel like there's something else that day. No, I'm serious.
It is September 11th.
That's a Thursday. Oh, yeah. There's a CDA meeting that night.
It's Patriot Day.
So August 14th is canceled.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Well, if we're good with that, then we will have a September meeting. I would also note, people are invited. There is a Wings, which is the bank that we do a lot of business with. It used to be Settlers, is having a big open house on July 31st from 4 to 6. They're kind of their grand reopening as Wings. So they had sent me a note, said to invite folks, and I know they asked the board members from the village board, but feel free if you want to stop. And if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 7:16 PM.